So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of the main fights which is taking place this weekend, which sees a rematch between Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan. Now for those of you guys that haven't seen the first fight between the pair, you missed an absolute war. It was a very exciting and well-matched fight from the get-go. So yeah, fair play for their promoters, obviously getting both of these guys in the ring. It was, as I said, a tremendous fight. And I'd probably say the Battle of Ireland at welterweight, definitely anyway. So yeah, it was an excellent fight first time round. So hopefully we could potentially see similar in this rematch on Saturday. So in terms of both of these fighters, this is the second time they're meeting in the ring, and this time there's a little bit of gold on the line because the IBF belt, which is currently vacant, previously owned by Jared Ennis, he vacated it, went up to 154. Brings and makes the belt vacant. So these two guys are the next two highest rated boxers in that division. So it makes sense that they fight for the belt, and also because the first fight ended in controversy. So as I mentioned, the first fight was a hell of a fight. There's a lot of controversy in the fight, but overall, my thoughts, and I think most people's thoughts, were that Paddy Donovan deserved the victory because he boxed out of his skin. He was schooling Lewis Crocker, which is quite surprising for me because I like Lewis Crocker and I've seen quite a few of his fights. And personally, I thought, because I didn't really know a lot about Paddy Donovan, so I just generally presumed that it would be a quite straightforward night's work sort of thing for Lewis Crocker, but it wasn't to be. He struggled. He struggled, and if it wasn't for the disqualification, then he certainly would have an L on his record now. And I assume that Paddy Donovan would have potentially have gone on to bigger or better things because there would have been no need to have a rematch. Now, in the first fight, Lewis Crocker obviously sustained a cut to both of his eyes, but they were legal because again it was punches that caused that, and he was also down in the 8th round as well. But the controversy was that Paddy Donovan had 2 points deducted in round 6 and round 8, and plus he was disqualified as well. So yeah, it wasn't a good night's work for him. But as I said, when you look back at the actual judges' scorecards, they pretty much in favour for Paddy Donovan. But when you watch the fight again, you know what I mean, you would have to be, I don't know, Stevie Wonder to give that fight to Lewis Crocker because it was all Paddy Donovan. Now, in terms of me giving my prediction for this fight, I am going to go with Paddy Donovan as long as he doesn't do anything stupid and cause maybe a disqualification. Then he should beat Lewis Crocker, especially from after the last performance, because it was one-way traffic. Now, for Lewis Crocker, I don't know where he would have had to have gone, or what he would have had to have changed in his training to try and get the victor on Saturday night, because he lost in every department. He got out jabbed, he was beaten to the punch, he was beaten by power, he was cut, he was bloody, he looked fatigued. He was outshone in terms of shot selection as well. Paddy Donovan was just too slick. So for me, from what I seen last time, Paddy Donovan has all the tools and skills necessary to beat Lewis Crocker. But I could be wrong. As I said, I do like Lewis Crocker. Part of me would like him to win, but in order for him to win, he would have to maybe fight a fight that he probably hasn't fought for a long time and dig down deep to where he potentially hasn't been for a while as well. Because this is going to be a tough night's work for him because Paddy Donovan's no more again. We've seen that in the first fight. And Lewis Crocker, I think for me, the last time I saw him dig down really deep in a fight was against Conor Walker, so it could be a similar type of performance potentially. But hopefully, let's wait and see what happens. As I said, the first time round was so exciting to watch. It was back and forth, toe to toe, pure action. So let's wait and see, because hopefully the fight could be, it could live up to potentially a bit of what the first fight was. And for those that have the zone, obviously you can stream on. There's some decent fighters, I should say, on the undercard as well. People that are up and coming and people that are maybe towards the end of their career. You've got fighters on there, so I'm going to name just a few that I know who are potentially up and coming. You've got Aaron Bowen. He's a middleweight. He's currently 6-0. He's fighting against the Carlos Miguel Rona. I've never heard of that guy in my life, but he's got a record currently of 7 wins and 5 losses. So hopefully, if his record goes to show, then it should be a fairly comfortable, decent night's work for Aaron Bowen. For him, it's a case of getting names on your record, getting experience, and then potentially try and maybe fight for an English or maybe British, then Commonwealth, hopefully down the traditional route. He's not one of these type of boxers, I believe, that they're going to push him quick. But the next person is, and that's Pat Brown. Now, Pat Brown, currently 3-0, still a novice in the pro game, but very experienced in the amateur game. He's fighting against a guy called Austin Namadi. Hopefully I pronounced that fairly half decent. His record, Nabadi, is 12 wins with 5 losses on his record. Now, for those that have watched Pat Brown recently in his 3 fights, know how devastating he can be and how good he looks. But he also looks a little bit, like, he's a little bit susceptible to some punches because his defense isn't the greatest, so he is exciting from that point. But Pat Brown is a fighter that I believe will be pushed quite quick, quite soon, because he has all the tools to potentially trouble the big boys. What he needs is experience. He needs time in the ring, and hopefully somewhat a good promoter to try and build him as well. You've got an old fighter next in terms of Tyrone McKenna. Tyrone McKenna, I believe, he's been in with both of these guys, Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan, I believe. And I think he's an Irish boxer as well. Let me just double check. I'm just going to type on BoxRec. Give me 1 second. Yeah, he is an Irish boxer. He's definitely been in with Lewis Crocker. He's been in with Harlem Eubank recently. O'Hara Davis in the past as well. Jack Catterall. So he's been in there with some big names in terms of the boxing game. But he hasn't been in there with Paddy Donovan, which I thought he did, but he hadn't. But that's fine anyway. But he's an older fighter. He's taking on a guy called Dylan Moran. Now, Dylan Moran record currently is 19 wins, 3 losses on his record. Tyrone McKenna, 24 wins, 6 losses on his record. So this could potentially be a little bit more of a 50-50 type of fight. I know Tyrone McKenna, I know what he's about. I don't know Dylan Moran, so I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, is this, is that. So for me, I think with the records, how they look, and what I know, and who I know how kind of Tyrone McKenna is and how he fights, it could probably be a closer fight than what their records are maybe suggesting as well. And then another fighter, which I know, well, 2 fighters, I should say, I think they may be co-main event as well, and it's regarding the super welterweight division, and that sees, Ishmael Davis, currently record of 13 wins and 2 losses, take on a Kamiko Ajako. Again, butchered that. His record is 17 wins with no losses. So potentially he will be the favourite going into this fight because, again, he's currently unbeaten. I do believe that his team believe he could potentially go on and fight for world titles. So for him to do that, he has to kind of definitely get a win against Ishmael Davis, but try and maybe do that looking half decent and good, realistically. But that's my breakdown of the fight and the card, which is taking place this Saturday, the 13th of September in Belfast, which sees the headline, as I talked about at the start of the video, between Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan, the rematch. You guys can let me know your thoughts in regards to the rematch between Crocker and Donovan. who your favourite is, who you believe is going to win, and by what method. Do you reckon they're going to win by stoppage, maybe disqualification again, a knockout, or points? Let me know. And as always, please leave your thoughts in the comments. Bless. Thank you.